someone's overdosing and you're trying to help them, and then some kid's like, can I play Fortnite on this or what? And I'm like, no, we don't play Fortnite. That's a teen game. You can't play it in here. Play Roblox. I don't want to play Roblox. And I was like, this guy's dying. Give me a goddamn minute, kid. So today I was on the way home. I stopped in the grocery store, and I usually hate the grocery store because I used to love it. But this one I hate. But I had a great interaction with a guy at the grocery store today because he was putting up a sign, and the sign fell over just on the ground, and he went, fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. And then I was right next to him, and he looked over at me and went, sorry. And I just went, no, man, I get it. And you know what? I did get it.
Yeah.
And I felt at that moment, I was like, you know, that guy, I understand him, and I feel like he understands me right now. And we just went about our days. We didn't have to say anything, but we're like, someone out there gets it.
Aww.
So me and that angry grocery store guy.
Sign guy.
He's my boy.
Aw. Well, this is for you, grocery store guy.
Yeah. Oh, let's start up our episode. This is going to be a fun one for me because I don't even know what we're doing today. Welcome, everyone, to a very haphazard episode of I Love This, You Should Too. My name is Indy, full of rage and chocolate, Randhawa.
Rage and chocolate.
Well, I'm not full of chocolate yet, but I had one.
Oh,
and
yes.
You know what?
I brought you chocolate home from work, yes.
If there's anything that can... there's two things, probably, that can quench my rage. One, grand societal reform.
Which
Two,
we're not getting.
Two, chocolate.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'll be more general. Treats.
Treats. I do try to bring you home treats a lot.
I love a treat.
And
you have a more treat-rich life.
I do.
And I have a no-treats life. Until they're available, then I'm like, give me those treats.
Yeah. And I have a very treat-heavy job.
Okay, and this is my lovely co-host, Samantha Treat Heavy Randhawa.
That's me.
That's her.
So many treats.
And she spreads the wealth.
I do. I brought treats into your life.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, everything's fine.
Nope, she didn't knock anything over, so we're good. And if you did, you just swear at it and be like, yeah, I get it.
I don't do a lot of that. I have done that, but I don't do a lot of it.
You can tell how the rest of my day has been by what happens. Mm-hmm. Because I cook a lot. And some days I'm like, here you go, you little tomatoes, get in here. And then I'm like, you fucking garlic, just do your job.
Aww.
Oh, we're going to turn on the explicit again.
Yeah.
It's been off for years because we said this was going to be an explicit podcast. Just because if I did swear, I didn't want it to, I don't know, get us in trouble.
Yeah.
But then I realized we hardly ever do.
Yeah.
But today
it's explicit.
Yeah. Give me one.
Shitty. Sorry. That's fucking shitty.
There you go. That was pretty good.
Okay. Well, I heard that you read a lot of books.
Oh, yeah.
From one person.
Sure.
And so
today is a in-between episode.
Today is an in-between episode.
Gotcha.
Indy is going to tell us about all of the books he read. Mm. And then I'm going to tell you what we're watching for our Big Watch next week.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, Indy, what books did you read?
Oh, yeah. So my things, plural, of the fortnight are the novels of Michael Crichton. Michael Crichton is a very, very famous and influential man, even if you don't know it. He's probably most known for writing Jurassic Park.
Yes.
But also, Westworld's really big right now. Or, no, it's been a few years since it was big. But he wrote that.
Okay.
He wrote ER. He wrote created.
He wrote
ER. He directed some movies. He wrote many books. And when I was, let's say, 12 through 16, I was a very big Michael Crichton fan. And, my reading habits, they tend to be a little more dense and old. Is that fair?
Yeah.
Dense
old books.
Yeah, I do a lot of that.
Is...
And I haven't read a kind of like a page-turner book very often. So I remembered really liking his work, and I thought, hey, might as well read them all over again. I'm going to talk about them in chronological order that they were released, but I didn't read them in chronological order. And I wonder if I should rate them or review them in that way instead, because as things went on, I liked them less, but I think I might have just been reading some of the garbage ones towards the end.
You were getting like worse and worse.
Maybe.
Okay.
But what I do like of his work is he is a very researched and informative writer. And I learned a lot as a child through his novels because they would have large, like an exposition dump, but in the best way. Remember that scene in Jurassic Park where there is, I can't remember, it was like Billy DNA or something. It was like a little cartoon character who explains how Jurassic Park works.
Right.
And you understand the principles of genetics from that.
Yeah.
It was a very clever way to just give you information, but in a way that was both informative and you could retain it, and it didn't feel like you were just reading an essay. And I think he is very good at that. And there's a lot of that throughout his work because I think he's a medical doctor. That's what his profession was first.
Yes.
And then, you have like a page up.
I do.
Do you have any fun facts?
Received an MD from Harvard Medical School in 1969, but did not practice medicine.
That's pretty impressive.
Choosing to focus on his writing instead. He wrote 25 novels during his lifetime, and there were
5 good ones.
4 more novels in various states of completion were published after his death.
Those ones are almost all junk.
Okay, well, it's the reason he didn't release them. He also had a dozen of his novels turned into movies. And he generally writes cautionary tales and about sciencey things.
Yeah. At the time, the buzzword for these kind of books was techno thrillers. That's what they called them in the 90s.
Techno thrillers.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And that was a subgenre of its own. There were a bunch of other novelists doing that sort of thing then. But I know him from the 90s. He was writing way before that because we're going to start off with The Andromeda Strain, which came out in 1969.
Which is what he did instead of practicing medicine.
Yeah, after graduating from Harvard Law, he's like,
Medical.
I'll just do this. Harvard Medical School. He did write a bunch of other pulpy things under a different name, but it was such a different genre and style of writing that I'm not even going to talk about those ones. I think it was like John Lang or something like that.
Oh.
But we're only going to talk about the Michael Crichton brand name ones.
He has 3. John Lang, Jeffrey Hudson, and Michael Douglas.
Oh. Isn't Michael Douglas?
He's a person.
Michael Douglas was in a Michael Crichton movie, actually. Yeah, we'll get to that.
That's weird. Okay.
But Andromeda Strain came out in 1969. It's about a military satellite that crashes back to Earth, and it's carrying a deadly extraterrestrial organism. Not like a big blob that's going to kill people, but a disease. And it's about a outbreak and the high security team that is trying to control this outbreak, but also kind of solve the mystery of what this virus is doing. And it really gets into the technical stuff. It really gets into that minutia. And that's what he is known for. He starts off doing mostly medical related stuff, which makes sense because of his background. But it's a pretty realistic depiction of a biohazard response and scientific crisis management. And that doesn't sound very entertaining, but I think it's a pretty good book. I'm not going to give number ratings. I'm going to give real good, pretty good, and meh, and junk. This one's pretty good. I liked it. Andromeda Strain, pretty good. Next, The Terminal Man came out in 1972, and this is another medical sci-fi. So sci-fi, I feel like people use that to mean like, space and aliens and stuff, but he does it in a very true to the words, like science fiction. He talks about science and where it could possibly be going, but maybe in his world it already exists. So this is about a man who is prone to violent seizures, and he undergoes this brain surgery that implants electrodes, and all of these things were actually happening, but the experiment kind of spirals out of control and it begins to malfunction, and it makes him violent, but he has blackouts, and it's about this patient trying to both help him and stop him because he is not doing well. This is another one. Pretty good.
Okay.
Pretty good. The Great Train Robbery came out in 1975. You know what? I might not have been paying attention to this one a whole bunch. When I was a kid and read it, I thought it was real boring then. I did this one as an audiobook because I remembered not enjoying it, and I thought I could just kind of let it go. It is very elaborate and meticulous in its writing, as he always is, but it's a procedural about this, great train robbery. So if you like that sort of thing, which I think a lot of people love, heist movies and that sort of stuff, where it's like this elaborate thing and all of these things work just right and you get all of this gold at the end.
Oh.
People love those types of movies. I never especially like them. I always feel like they're complicated to show how clever the writer is.
Right.
And this kind of feels like that too, but so it's a meh from me.
Okay.
Eaters of the Dead came out in 1976. This one, although I might not love it, is very, very interesting because it is based on the true account of a man in the 10th century. And I mean true, like he was a travel writer of the 10th century.
Oh.
So
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah, not many people were keeping journals. And his job for the prince, whoever he's doing this for, he was an Arab man, Ahmad ibn Fadlan, who would travel and write things down to capture what the world outside of his home country was like. And because of that, you get some insights to things that we have no other way of knowing about, because the Vikings weren't writing a lot of their stuff down.
Right.
So this was a man who traveled all the way to, it's not quite Scandinavia, but the Vikings we think of like, oh yeah, Denmark, Norway, right? But they were actually down further as well. So he is meeting the Vikings and is writing down everything that he comes across, including like how his culture is different from theirs. So it's very interesting from an anthropological standpoint. What Crichton does is elaborate on it. So it's instantly becoming historical fiction by that point because he's filling in the blanks and then he's drawing some conclusions and putting on a like third act that wasn't actually in the writings.
Oh.
So what is kind of important about this, outside of a man from Baghdad traveling to Northern Europe and writing about how like dirty everyone is, and he's like, why don't people just wash themselves a little more? There's a lot of that, but there are all these instances of sea monsters and things like that. And this was in the actual document, but how they're described, we're like, oh, it was a whale. He didn't know about those, right?
Oh.
But there's this one account of these people that they are fighting, and I can't even remember what they called them in this now, but they are described as being shorter and stronger and having these strong brows and just being different. And they are barbaric. They come at night. There's no reasoning with these people, and you have to fight them.
Oh.
And now people look at that and think, was that actually Neanderthals that had not gone extinct when we assumed they had?
Oh.
And it talks about some like statues they have. And from that, people are thinking, well, maybe the Neanderthals were more advanced than we originally thought because we already know that they did things like bury their dead, but maybe they had some sort of like rudimentary primitive religion as well.
Okay.
So it's really interesting for that. I thought this was very interesting for those reasons. As a book itself, I'm going to give it a pretty good.
Okay. Another pretty good.
Congo from 1980. This one also pretty good. This is where he kind of finds his bearings as a more science fiction but also adventure writer. I guess there's a bunch of that in The 13th Warrior or Eaters of the Dead. Eaters of the Dead got turned into a movie called The 13th Warrior, where Antonio Banderas played the guy from Baghdad because they're like, you're brown enough, let's just whatever, it's all the same.
Darker skin tone, whatever.
The movie, medium, not that great.
Oh, okay.
But Congo is really getting into that adventure stuff. It has all sorts of classic adventure story elements because they're trying to locate a lost city and maybe there are some rare diamonds there. But then it gets into Crichton's sci-fi things, which does involve, like, there's the lasery part, but that's less interesting because it's talking about lasers used in satellites. That's not that fun. But what is fun is this undiscovered species of ape, and this one has an ape in it. An ape that uses sign language, which again is real.
Yes.
And then in the movie, the ape used sign language in like a Nintendo Power Glove, so it would talk, because you can't just have sign language for a whole movie, I guess.
Right.
The movie, pretty terrible, but fun, terribly fun.
Oh, okay. That seems like a fun premise for a movie.
A lot of it, and when I rated this one as like pretty good. When I look at some of the later things I read, it's like, oh yeah, this was better than most of those. So Congo was pretty good. One interesting thing, the most interesting thing, is this undiscovered species, and they get into linguistics when it comes to other species, like what constitutes language. And that to me was very interesting because these apes are kind of a step ahead of the apes we know of, but definitely far below anything of humans. But they would use like a kind of grunting noises, and then they're talking about, is that language? How is it repeatable? How can you communicate? So he gets into that stuff, which is fun. There is one part of it which is very offhand. They talk about digital photos, and this was in 1980, I think is what I said. So that wasn't a thing, but he was positing, what if you could have a photograph that's on a computer? And that was kind of crazy, right? Because that didn't exist. So he was talking about digital satellite imagery, and that's what they used to find things. So that was something that he posited as a possibility. That is just something that we're like, yeah, that's course, that's what we have. And it's also interesting because he talks a lot about computers and saying like, oh, in the future, how computers are going to be different. And we know that they got smaller and more powerful, and everyone has one now. What he was saying was, yeah, in the future, computers are going to be so powerful that there'll just be 4 computers for the world, and everyone will just be able to use them. And I guess that's kind of like cloud computing and such now.
Oh, yeah, that would be, yeah. Everybody has like 4 computers. Yeah.
Said that the biggest hurdle that we were going to have to overcome to have computers that everyone can be using a computer is the sheer raw materials. Like, we won't have enough cables for that. That's what he was thinking about would be the biggest issue.
Oh, that's funny.
Sphere came out in 1987, and when I was 14 or 15, I read this book, and I said, this is my favorite book ever. For a 14-year-old.
Yeah.
So it's about a team of scientists that investigate this mysterious craft. Is it a spacecraft? Is it aliens? And then they look at it like, well, maybe it's not aliens. Maybe it's a time machine of some sort. Maybe it's human. What's the difference? Are aliens just future humans? I don't know. But they find this sphere within the spacecraft, and it can manipulate your thoughts. I don't think it's giving away much to say that the sphere can read your mind a little bit and create stuff based on that. So it creates this environment of suspense and paranoia, and it's all underwater as well. This whole thing takes place on like the ocean floor, so they've built a kind of series of buildings that they can go in while they're down there to research this vessel that they found down there. And crazy things start happening, and it's about the power of the unconscious mind, about the destructive potential of fear, and the science fiction and thriller elements of it are great. But you know what he's not good at? Writing for anyone that's not a white man. And I know it's very easy for us to say now of like, most of our famous authors are white men and most of our famous characters are white men. But here it's so clear that he can't write anyone else because there's a woman who's a main character in this, and all of her problems and characteristics are just like, I'm a woman. As a woman, I think. And then there's one black man who's always just going, I'm black, so you know what I think. It is their entire character, is their blackness or their womanness. So everyone else can be a full character, and then if you're black or a woman, that's your character. You're already done. So he is pretty guilty of that, and more so the more we read of him. But it was never like, hey, I'm dumb because I'm a woman. It's
Right.
just woman is my character.
Right. And not a lot beyond that.
Yeah. It had a very bad movie with Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, Sam Jackson, and Liv Schreiber. So that's something. It's something bad, but something.
Those are people.
Then in 1990, he wrote a little book called Jurassic Park. And I'm not going to talk too much about this because we did a whole episode on Jurassic Park, the movie. And in that, I talked a bit about the book. I think that might have been why I started reading all these. Or maybe I read that one for the movie and then thought, like, oh, these are good. I should read them.
Revisit.
And you know what? Jurassic Park holds up. I think it's his best book. It's his most famous for good reason. It's a very good book. I don't need to explain what Jurassic Park is, but let's just say if you're gonna read one of his, read that one. The movie's great. The book's very good. I think that's probably his best work. Rising Sun came out in 1992. This is about a murder that takes place in LA, but the building is owned by a Japanese corporation, and there's this complicated investigation, and there's a cop and a older cop who knows Japanese stuff. So
Great.
it starts off and you think, hey, maybe this book isn't racist. It's just the people in the story who are racist, which they are, and it's depicting a time in America when concerns about the Japanese, specifically their economy taking over the American economy, was a big deal. So maybe it's just that. But it's not. I think the book is pretty racist.
Oh, no.
It's like those movies about poker when you know how they say, like, oh, this person has a tell.
Right.
They rub their nose, so now I know they're bluffing. And nothing's that simple. Nothing in human interaction is that simple. But this treats Japanese culture in that way. Like, oh, you know what you have to do? You have to bow lower. And now they will listen to you. And it has like all of these little things of like, you just do this one simple trick and
Right.
Japanese people will listen to you.
Which is not true.
No, it's almost like everyone is an individual and this culture has existed for thousands of years and can't be summarized in simple sentences like that.
Good point.
And then you finish the book and there's this author's note at the back and it's just warning about how Japan's going to take over. And then you realize, oh shit, this whole thing was racist.
Oh, no.
The murder mystery part of it is pretty good, if not a little bit misleading. There's like one lazy part of it, which I don't need to get into because maybe you're going to go read Rising Sun, although I don't know why you would. Something that was really interesting in all of these books, especially looking at them from decades later, you see how ahead of his time he was as a writer and like a science fiction writer and predicting things, because so many times you'll read things and be like, yeah, this is all normal. And then you realize, oh, wait, he was writing this when these things didn't exist.
So he's like making it up. But
So
he was
then
right.
it's very impressive. And then he has these other little things that he'll say as throwaways. And when they're wrong, it's very clear. And then when they're right, you almost don't notice because, yeah, that's our world now. But he's talking about how Americans aren't going into research fields anymore and they're not making things anymore. But what they are doing is churning out a lot of lawyers and people in finance. And he says that this is a way that you can get rich much quicker. But of course, you're not going to be developing any new technologies because that takes a longer time. And he says this is why the Japanese are going to take over in the market. And all of that is true, except why didn't the Japanese take over? Because what the Americans did is like, let's change our entire system to reward people who go to get rich quick and go into finance and go to become lawyers and exploit people who are creating new things. So capitalism found a way to stifle innovation. And this is kind of the heart of the discrepancies in wealth that we see in America today, maybe.
Whoa.
But there was a pretty bad movie with Wesley Snipes and Sean Connery, and you get to hear Sean Connery pretend like he's a very experienced Japanese, like he can speak Japanese in this, and he can't.
Oh my God. Well, that just sounds racist and problematic.
Well, he's not playing a Japanese person.
Oh, okay.
He's playing a guy who lived in Japan and understands their culture and is helping the cop figure out the Japanese.
Okay.
Yeah. But it is racist still, though.
Yeah. It seems like we're heading into racist territory.
You're like, oh, is there any karate fighting? Yep. Of course there is.
Oh, no.
All right. Next is Disclosure from 1994. Because he's like, oh, was that one poorly written and offensive? Hold my beer. So is this one. Disclosure centers on a sexual assault. It's about a female boss assaulting her male employee. And that's interesting because it's not something we see as often, but it shows a lot of those same tropes of power dynamics, of victim blaming. So you think like, okay, this is something interesting. But then so much of the discourse of the book is how you can't even tell a joke these days. Women are so sensitive. And when you're writing this book that actually looks at a sexual assault and speaks very earnestly and I think accurately about things like victim blaming, about like, oh, you were asking for it, why were you alone there? Mm-hmm. It's nuanced enough to understand all of that. But then it also gets into like women, am I right? Oh, so you're like, it's frustrating because you're like, you're so close.
You're almost there.
Almost. So because of that, it feels like any attention they're giving to the victims of sexual assault is a little shallow.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of corporate intrigue, which is what he was kind of doing through much of the 90s between the dinosaur books with Rising Sun and this. I never liked that kind of stuff as much, so I didn't like this one as much. One thing that was really interesting in this, and you know how I kept saying he predicted this thing, and he was very right. He predicted this thing, and he was so wrong. So they invent a system. It's like virtual reality in their computer systems. And so what he's positing in the future, if you need a file on your computer, you put it on your VR set and then you walk in virtual reality to filing cabinets and pull out the files and be like, that's the file I want. And you read it by holding it up. And there's so many movies and books that do that. I thought like that's what the computer is going to be like in the future. No one thought that is way more cumbersome than like double clicking something.
Oh my God. I would like to try it as someone who like works with data on a daily basis.
It's just recreating paper.
Yeah.
It's making a warehouse.
Yeah.
It's not that. It's a terrible idea.
I'd like to try it, but I don't think I'd want to do it every day.
No.
I enjoy not having to get up from my desk to get things now.
Yeah, that makes sense. This had a mediocre movie starring Michael Douglas and Demi Moore.
Oh.
Then came The Lost World in 1994. And I think when this book came out and is when maybe I started reading him. Because 94, I'd be like 10 or 11. So right after this is probably when I got into it. This is a sequel to Jurassic Park. And the story follows a new expedition to a second dinosaur-inhabited island. And they bring back some of the fan-favorite characters from the first book, even though they died in the first book.
Oh, my God.
He just says, like, oh, yeah, he didn't. So this one was clearly made to be a movie. And after Jurassic Park, we see this more in his writing. There's a lot of things that are like, oh, yeah, this is a scene in a movie. It's a terrible part of a book, though.
Right. He's like just writing for the screenplay. Yeah.
So this was one of those. It also does a lot of things that you can tell is pandering for a movie audience because like, oh, then there's the kids in it because that worked well in the first one and it's going to be a kids movie. So there's unnecessary children in this one. It's surprisingly
I like that
long.
Description, unnecessary children.
So much of my day is unnecessary children.
Yeah, I bet.
It's surprisingly long before we get to any dinosaurs. And they had a movie, and the movie is very different from the book, but maybe worse. It's a terrible movie, The Lost World.
Oh.
I still think the Jurassic Park franchise, what are we at, like 6, 7 movies?
I think so.
One good one.
Oh, okay.
Next, in 1996, came a book called Airframe. And this is about a commercial airliner. Something happens in midair, and there's a lot of turbulence. And then it's about, how did that happen?
Huh.
So you'd think, so it's like 300 pages on what caused these 30 seconds of turbulence? Riveting. Really enjoyed it.
Really?
It's so specific, and I think this is what he's good at. He gets into the minutia of, so now I can tell you what an airplane slats do. I can tell you about faulty slats deployments. I can tell you about counterfeit pieces in a slats deployment mechanism and countermeasures of how you could avoid unintended slats deployments. And I've retained this. I read this so long ago. He's good at that sort of thing. He really gets into it. You can tell he really did his homework. And it has like kind of a corporate mystery thriller kind of thing. But the mystery of this, of what caused that turbulence, was one of his best things. I really enjoyed it. I think this is a pretty good.
That doesn't sound like pretty good. But you know what?
It was.
Great. I'm glad. I'm happy for you.
In 1999, he wrote a book called Timeline. And this is about a group of historians that have to go back in time to save someone trapped in the past.
Oh,
and you're
course.
like, time machines, that seems like a big jump. But the way he gets there is in very Crichton ways. And the whole swashbuckling adventure of this, because that's what it really gets into. You can tell this was definitely made to be a movie. It was a movie. I haven't watched it yet, but I think I might. But the movie parts of it are, it seems like a bad 90s action movie. It's just somebody going, oh yeah, and then the castle blows up, and it's like, "Brah!" And then there's this big, giant, grotesque knight, and he's chopping off heads with his axe, and he's like, ah! And then, and you're like, none of this makes any sense.
Yeah.
But what was the most interesting is his time travel method, because it gets into quantum theory. And when I was, I think, 16 when I read this one, I still remember most of what I know about quantum theory I learned from this book. And he's very good at explaining something very complicated in a way that I, as a 16-year-old, understood and still can like recount to this day. But this is also the start of his thinking of, well, all the scientists say this, but they're wrong. Let me tell you how it really is. And that comes back in a bad way in a couple of books. Then we're jumping up to 2002, a book called Prey. Now, everything from here on out, I read for the first time because I'd stopped reading his books by this point. So Prey came out in 2002. This is about nanotechnology and what if it went wrong. It's a cautionary tale. I don't know, it was fine. That's all we need on that one. Okay. It was fine. It wasn't bad.
Cool.
Speaking of bad, State of Fear came out in 2004. This is about eco-terrorists, and they're planning a catastrophic disaster, and they're going to manipulate global opinion about climate change because activists are bad, but there's a heroic lawyer who is going to save the day. And you're like, wait, Michael Crichton used to be all about science. Is this whole book about being a climate change denier? Yes, it is.
Really?
When I said that was the start of him saying like, well, scientists say this, but I know better, this is when that comes to a forefront.
Michael Crichton, no.
And I read this with a very open mind. I believe what I believe. You know what? Sway me. Tell me that how climate change is wrong. And this man, like I said, has done such a good job of teaching me things that I didn't understand before. I learned so much about genetics reading Jurassic Park when I was a kid. I learned quantum theory. I learned a lot from his books as a child. So it's like, all right, let's see what you got. And it was just so much worse. He did it in such a poor way. It's like having an argument with a climate change denier. Whenever anyone says anything about global warming, another character says, you're wrong, and literally prints out a piece of paper with data to disprove them. While in the other ones, he does such a good job of weaving the teaching into the story. In this, they'll just stop and list pages of statistics. And you go like, well, if it's a lot of, well, actually, but of course, it's very selective data and it's very manipulative, but it's also so lazy. He was so good at incorporating research and facts into his stories, but this reads more like a pamphlet from a crazy guy on the street than it does Jurassic Park.
Oh no.
The sciencey stuff doesn't come about naturally like it does in his other novels. In Jurassic Park, when he's talking about chaos theory and nonlinear dynamics, that person is arguing against someone. So he's proving his point. And then we get to see how it comes through the novel that that person was right. In this one, it's somebody writing both sides of the argument, and you can tell. So the guy who says like, oh, of course climate change is real. All those celebrities can't be wrong, can they?
Oh my God.
They don't actually say anything. Like in the other ones, people will have points to argue against the point that is ultimately proven right.
Right.
There's none of that in this. It's just like, well, I heard from Brad Pitt that. And then the person goes, well, that's where you're wrong, Billy. Look at this textbook. And then just regurgitates statistics that are, even for me, someone who has no background in this, I can be like, well, this is very manipulative. I see what you're doing here. And it's easy to poke holes in. In addition to all of that, it's a very poorly written book. It's a bad book. I think it's his worst. There's one other one that's up there, but it's just terrible. So maybe go read it. The only positive reviews I'd ever seen about this book is like, finally, someone's brave enough to stand up to those Democrats. That's it. That's the only thing.
God.
Nobody says like, oh yeah, that story was interesting, because it's not. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if someone else wrote much of that for him or what was going on, but it's bad. It's a bad book. Next is Next, which came out in 2006. This has so many plots, and it doesn't explore any of them fully.
Oh, great.
So there's like some interesting stuff about the legality of ownership of genetic material and body autonomy. And you're like, okay, let's see where this is going. You know where it's going? Oh, this guy over here, he's on a road trip with a talking bird.
Great.
Cool. It's so all over the place. Then came Pirate Latitudes from 2009. This is a found manuscript that he did not publish, and they published it after his death. They shouldn't have. It's bad. This and the climate change one are the two worst ones. It's really bad. It seems like a really bad movie about like pirate times, and there's this guy who's like, I'm the hero, and he just meets like a woman bathing nude in this lagoon, and she's like, oh, you startled me there, I'll give you a startle. And then they just have sex, and then, oh, there's a sea monster now, and like real sea monsters. And I don't know, it was real bad. But he didn't
books
publish
that
it.
are just like, and then
Yeah.
and then
This seemed like a bad 70s adventure movie, or maybe even earlier than that would have like stop motion stuff, but it was terrible. But he never published it, so I can't really blame him for that. Who knows when he wrote it? Maybe he wrote it when he was 15, and then I'd be like, yeah, oh, that checks out.
Yeah.
Because he's so handsome. Everyone wants to bang him.
Oh, great.
Then came Micro, and this was written with Richard Preston, so I'm not sure if that guy finished it. Yeah, I think Preston finished it. Crichton had started it, but then he passed away. And this is about, you know what? It's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. There you go. Done. Watch Honey, I Shrunk the Kids instead. This was not very good.
Okay.
One good one late in his career was called Dragon Teeth, and this came out in 2017. It was not published in his lifetime, and it was found amongst his writings. This one was good.
Okay.
It's set in the 1870s, and it follows a student who joins a group of paleontologists during the Bone Wars, which was a real thing because, do you know about the Bone Wars?
No, I don't.
So it's when dinosaurs were being discovered in the Americas.
Right.
So I was telling you just the other day, actually, like, wasn't it crazy that Lincoln didn't know about dinosaurs?
Oh, man.
And then I think it came about in his lifetime. And to hear that, oh, did you hear that they dug up a 40-foot monster? There's like skeletons of monsters in the ground? That would be so scary if you didn't know about dinosaurs.
That would be so scary.
So when this was going on, it was like anything. It was an industry. It was a way to get rich quick. So people were being very unscrupulous in how they would find fossils and bones. And that's how we got things like the Brontosaurus. Well, that wasn't a real animal.
Oh, because
there's a lot of mistakes.
Throwing bones together.
Yeah, and they'd say, hey, I discovered this. Hey, I discovered this. But they're also sabotaging each other. So this is going on in that time. And it's quite good. It's a decent approximation of a historical event, although they used real characters. They kind of made some bad guys bad that weren't actually, and some good guys good that weren't actually. But you know what happened in the 1870s, so it's hard to say what's truly true. But there were a lot of assholes there. That's something we definitely know. But it was good at telling you about that, about how fossils are unearthed. But it's also very interesting in how it talks about the brutal nature of westward expansion, about imperialism and capitalism, and how that crushed this individual in it, but also all the damage it did to history, to the land. So it's very interesting and seems very out of place for his later career, because his later stuff is weak and not great. But who knows when he wrote that, because it's something that he had not published, so maybe it's from before. But that one was pretty good. It's called, what was it called? Bone Wars? I forget. Dinosaur teeth. Dragon teeth. Dragon teeth. So that one was pretty good.
Should have been called Bone Wars.
Yeah, it's not bad, actually.
It's not bad.
I would watch a movie of dragon teeth. But I wonder, because of his later stuff that got turned into movies did not do well, maybe nobody wanted
wants to
it
put the money
seems
forward
like
for
a
that.
great movie. Or just anything about the Bone Wars. Maybe there are movies about that. I would be very interested to watch them, though. But one last one, and this is a book called Eruption that came out in 2024. And it was co-written by James Patterson, who I think is one of the biggest authors in history by this point. And I've never read anything of his up until this one that was, because I think it was Crichton's notes or half finished, and then Patterson came in and finished it. It's junk. It centers around a volcano in Hawaii. And here's the pitch. There's going to be a volcano that's going to erupt. And in the volcano, also, the U.S. military stored these magical materials that will destroy all plant life if one of them breaks. And we kept it in a volcano. Uh-oh, what are we going to do? We need a hero pilot that can do anything. It's dumb. It's a dumb movie. It's a dumb book. It sounds like it should be a dumb movie, but in fact, it's a dumb novel.
It sounds dumb.
Yeah, it was. It was. So that is my mixed bag of Michael Crichton. Very high highs, very low lows. And this is the first time I've kind of looked at it chronologically like this. And you can really see like him getting into certain things and then falling off in ways. And influential for sure, in very good ways for the most part. Luckily, those junk books of his are kind of just forgotten about. So, I don't know. Good, I guess?
Yeah.
So go read some Michael Crichton. Read some Jurassic Park or Congo or Sphere or Dragon Teeth. I think those are some of the best ones.
You mean Bone Wars?
Bone Wars. And Eaters of the Dead, just because it's like an actual translation of a 10th century travel writer. That's crazy.
Yeah.
You get to hear about Vikings from someone who was learning about them, and you learn with him. It's very interesting.
Crazy. That's such a cool way in.
All right. I talked for so long. I am exhausted.
Great.
Now, Samantha.
That's me.
That's you. You're the only other one here.
Ah, excellent.
Please tell me, what are we going to be watching for your choice in this week's Big Watch?
You like movies about female friendships, right?
Oh, idea.
You like musicals.
Usually.
So,
You know,
with an asterisk.
like any type of movie. Half of them are great, half of them are junk.
Okay.
But I'm not opposed to musicals. I often love them.
You like witches.
Usually, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to just give you an unequivocal. Yeah, I do.
Great. I thought you liked witches. I'm going for a second witch pick here.
Oh, which picks?
You sometimes like movies based on books.
Sure, yeah. Much of the time.
Okay, great. For our big watch, we are going to be watching the 2024 Part 1 Wicked.
Oh, Wicked.
And this is something I know I often am like, I haven't seen this, I should, or like, I think I like this. This is a love. This is a 10 out of 10 love for
I
me.
believe at our end of year last year, this was your movie of the year.
Yes, and I now feel like you need to watch it because Wicked Part 2 comes out November 22nd. Okay. So I felt like this was a time when we had an extra episode between Spooky and Christmas, and I thought this would be a good one to kind of slot in there just before the movie comes out.
So one thing you didn't ask me is, do you like background stories of characters that you already know and had no further questions about? Because my answer then is an unequivocal no, I do not. So I'm a little worried about that part.
So I think the movie does a good job of explaining a lot of things. So for those of you who don't know,
tell us.
Wicked is based on the Broadway, or Wicked is based on the book, The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which was then made into a hit Broadway musical that has run for 22 years on Broadway and around the world.
Your other question could have been, do you like Broadway musicals based on existing IP? And that's another one where I'm like, no, I've never seen one that I liked.
That's why I didn't ask you that. For the big introduction, I try to ask you questions that you say yes to.
Yeah.
Because I'm trying to sell you on this movie.
Female friendship, witches, singing.
Great.
Love
Based on
all
books.
those.
Based on books.
Maybe.
So, Wicked the musical is based on the book, so like the play by Winnie Holtzman. The music is by Stephen Schwartz. It's loosely adapted from Gregory Maguire's 1995 novel Wicked.
Wait, whose novel?
Gregory Maguire.
But then there's another novel?
What?
That's the only novel?
That's the only novel.
Oh, okay, sorry. I thought you'd said something about
No,
another
there
novel.
is 3 novels. Like, it's a trilogy.
Oh, okay.
But Wicked is based on the first book.
Okay, so let me just get the lineage straight, if I may.
Okay.
So there was a book called The Wizard of Oz. Then they made a movie called The Wizard of Oz, which I do enjoy. I think that one's fantastic. I think it's one of the greatest films ever made.
It's wonderful. You can turn on any time and have the feels.
There's a character in that
Wicked Witch
someone said, I'm going to write a book about how she became the Wicked Witch of the West.
Yes.
I'm going to write 3 books.
Yes.
Then someone said, you know what, those books are good. I'm going to make them a Broadway musical.
Yes.
And then that went on for a long time. And then someone said, oh, that musical's so good, let's make it a musical movie.
Yes.
Okay.
You have the timeline.
Okay.
Yes. So you did a way better job of that than I could. But yes. So lots and lots of IP happening here.
Yeah.
Also, Wicked has a bit of a cult following, so it's like
a bit.
So it's very much, this movie is a little bit of fan service. So there's a lot of really fun cameos in it. You get a lot of previous Broadway actors who have played lead roles or who have had something to do with the show throughout the years. Who do cameos in this, which is like super fun, and it's not hitting you over the head with it. So if you know who they are, it's like a fun little like, oh, there's that. Stephen Schwartz is in it, Winnie Holtzman is in it, and Gregory Maguire's in it. And so you get cameos. If you know the lore and like the background and what people look like, then you're like, yeah, great. That's a fun cameo. If you don't, we're not beating you over the head with it. This movie has Ariana Grande, Cynthia Erivo, Jonathan Bailey, Bowen Yang, who we talked about the other day, Peter Dinklage, Michelle Yeoh.
Okay, there's two. I like Dinklage too.
Yeah. Jeff Goldblum.
Goldblum, sure, my boy.
Speaking of
Ian
Jurassic
Malcolm
Park.
himself.
Speaking of Jurassic Park. And it's a joyful feeling.
It's a joyful feeling. Is
This
that the
movie.
name of one of the songs?
No.
It's a joyful feeling.
No, but I am really interested and slightly terrified to hear what you think of this movie.
You know what? Me too. In both ways. I'm very interested because it's rare that you have a movie that you're like, this movie's great. So I really want to see what you think is very good, and I want to like share in this joyful feeling.
Okay, great.
Second, things you like tend to have a following of like, if you don't love every part of this, go to hell. Go to hell and burn there. So I'm always a little bit like, I love this, but there's this one little thing. And it's hard to like, you have to tiptoe because I don't know what I said about, I just said like, I didn't love Taylor Swift. I said, she's good. And then like people get very angry because I just said she was good. And I didn't say like, well, she is the queen of all things good and holy with the world, which is the proper response.
True.
So I'm a little scared of that. What I'm most scared of is maybe my single least favorite thing in film today is that everything's a remake of an adaptation of a book that was taken. It's like 8 steps away from an original thought. And although many can be very original and creative, much of the time they're allowing the sheer existence of all of its predecessors to do the heavy lifting, and then you just come in and be like, you know all these things, let's go. That bugs me a lot of the time.
Right.
But when it can be done well, like Spider-Verse is my exception to so many rules, right? Like, I'm done with Spider-Man. I love Spider-Man, I'm done with it.
Yeah.
How could you make this fresh? Then Spider-Verse came out, I was like, you found a way.
This is great. Yeah.
That's another one that has a lot of fan service in it. If you don't follow it, you don't need it. No big deal. So I'm hoping it goes in that direction and not the direction of, I was trying to think of one that doesn't do it well, and I could just say like, the rest.
The rest and all.
Yeah.
So I hear what you're saying and I understand. I think you can tiptoe a little bit less around this.
Okay.
I just wanted to mention the director, John M. Chu, directed I Love This, You Should Too favorites such as Step Up to the Streets, Step Up 3D.
Those were the best two. 3D was the best one, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so he made the best Step Up movie.
He did.
I liked Step Up 3D.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you're saying that completely as a joke, but I was like, oh, that was good.
I'm saying like we've covered these movies and we had good things to say about them, and Crazy Rich Asians.
Right, that's what I knew him from.
He does a really good spectacle movie.
Sure.
And I think that is like exactly what this movie needs, because it is a world that he built. So and you need to be able to kind of expand from the Broadway show, which is limited in the fact that it's like a static set. And
I think you want someone who doesn't have a very strong personal style of their own. Like with the Marvel movies, you want it to be about this property and not about the director.
Yeah. And
although they're better when they do get those directors. But we're not talking about Marvel.
No, we're not talking
about Marvel. I'll complain about Marvel another day.
We'll do a Marvel episode and you can complain all you want. But yeah, so he's done really amazing work in these like big scale movies. And I really think that he does a very good job with this. And yeah, I'm like really excited to watch it again.
So I'm not going to ask about the movie itself because we're going to watch it. So some background information for people like me who haven't seen it. It was 3 books. Do all 3 books become the Broadway musical?
No, just the first book.
Oh.
And so here's the thing. So last year when everyone was getting whipped into a frenzy about Wicked, and people didn't really know the Broadway musical. They went to the book, which, like, you know, you're going to see a movie based on a book that's turned into a musical that is now like this movie. The novel is not in any way child friendly. It is also not super close to what you end up seeing on stage or screen. Because they took the loose idea and this world that was built for the book and kind of made it rosy and bubbly.
Sure.
Because a lot of the things that happen in this book, including sexual assault and like...
I assume, I haven't read the book, but a lot of books of that type that came... When did that come out? But that must have been quite a while ago.
I think it was 1996.
Okay. So not too far off.
95.
There was a lot of like, what if we took this fun, happy thing and we gave it a gritty, dark backstory?
And that's exactly what it is. And it's like a little bit sci-fi because of like the characters. Like you've got magic and you've got like all of this stuff.
So 99% of the time, I have nothing to say to that. But I know, just in case there's someone who's listening because of all the Michael Crichton talk,
not
magic
sci-fi.
is not sci-fi.
Okay.
It's fantasy.
Okay. It's a fantasy book. But
yeah,
it's
The
like
Wizard of Oz is fantasy.
when all of the like sexy fantasies, dark sexy fantasies were coming out. So this falls in that. And I tried to reread it before this movie came out because I was like, it's been many years. I read it way back in the day when I got to see the musical when it was touring, and could not remember what it was because we've established I have a terrible memory. I can read things 10 times over and it's like a new book every time. So I tried to read this book and I was just like, this is terrible. I don't want to continue reading this.
Terrible in that it was too dark or just like bad?
It was just bad.
Okay.
It was like, I don't want to like, I don't want to be gross, but it was like masturbatory language. Like it was just like, oh, I'm going to use all of these words to show you how smart I am.
Oh yeah, I know those.
And it's like world building, and he builds an incredible world. Like the world of Wicked is amazing, but he uses about 75% more words than he needs to, and it's so complicated. And I stopped listening after 3 chapters.
Wow. Okay.
Because even though I know this world very, very well, and I know who the characters are, I was like, okay, great. This will be like really interesting because I want to hear the source material. No, you can skip Wicked, the book. Because
this bodes well, I think.
Yeah.
Because I really don't like here's a dark take on a fairy tale. I think those tend to be lazy and bad. And that you said that it was that, and then they changed it and made it much better. So now we're kind of, it's like we're sometimes being a step further removed from something is good when one of those steps is a bad step.
Yes, exactly. So just so you know, you can skip the book. It was not good. I love a like magical book. I've read many of them. I've enjoyed many of them. This is not it. All right.
So then I don't need to read it because we're not even going to talk about the book.
We're not going to talk about the book.
I like to, be extra prepared.
Of course.
This stuff.
I tried. It was terrible.
Next week, no book talk.
No book talk. So we're going to be talking about the movie. I will probably also talk about the musical, the Broadway musical. I am really interested to hear what you're going to say.
Okay. My next big question.
Yes.
So it's not a big question. My next question, we kind of got sidetracked there, but the musical is just the first book.
Yes.
The Broadway musical.
Yes.
Then the Broadway musical is 2 movies.
Yes.
But the 2 movies make up just the one Broadway musical.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Because they took the opportunity to kind of expand everything. You get a little bit more backstory and a little bit more world.
Oh, sure. I need more backstory in the 3 books that were about a character who has 20 minutes of screen time in Wizard of Oz.
Okay. I don't think it's too much.
Okay.
I definitely am a little bit more critical now that we've been doing this for so many years. I think that they took the right amount of time to do this justice.
Sure.
Because of the limitations of being on a stage and being able to do this in like 2.5 hours. You miss a lot of things that then can be brought in a movie set that you can't get on stage. So I think they did a really good job. I think that you get so much more in here. And I think that they did a lot of really good service to this story.
Okay. My next question.
Yes.
How much is the right amount of time? How long is this thing? Because if it's a musical that's then cut in half, surely it must have a very reasonable runtime, right?
It is 160 minutes.
160?
Yes.
2 hours and 40 minutes?
Yes.
That's too long. So it's a 5-hour movie?
It will be a 5-hour movie, and you
Come
can
on,
watch
man.
it in both parts the weekend of release.
If you're making a 5-hour thing, make a TV show.
Yeah.
5 1-hour episodes. There you go. Done.
I don't know what to say.
All right.
I think it's going to be perfect.
No, of course they wouldn't, because it's a big moneymaker. You
Yes.
want it in the theaters. That sounds like a trilogy, though. But
Part 1 made $756.4 million.
all right.
So it cost $150 million.
That's a little lower than I thought, actually. I thought it had been like 2.
Yeah, and 2 million. No, 200 million would make sense. And it was interrupted halfway through due to the writer's strike or the actor's strike. Which strike was it? Also, they filmed both parts at once, so there was no like coming back to it. This movie is literally like one big part. These movies together are like one big part because they filmed it all together, which I think is kind of cool. Because I feel like sometimes when you come back for a sequel, you don't have the same feeling. So I was very happy to see that they did it all in one part to keep it kind of continuous.
And it's 1 year between the releases?
Yes, exactly 1 year pretty much.
Exactly, pretty much.
November 3rd, 2024 to November 22nd, 2024.
Gotcha. All right. Well, I feel like this movie... Part 1 should be broken into 2 parts, but we're going to get through it. We'll find a day where we have 3 hours to sit and watch it.
Yes.
And we'll have a good time.
Awesome. And it is available on Prime Video in Canada for free.
Oh, I was going to ask, is this a big studio? It's not like a Disney movie or anything.
It's a Universal movie.
Okay.
So there's like Wicked at Universal Studios now.
What does that mean?
At Universal Studios, the theme park, they have like Glinda and Elphaba walking around.
Oh, like the characters?
Yes.
Around. Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's a big deal. But yes, it is a big studio movie.
It is a big deal because last year, I believe on your Christmas list was, quote, anything wicked.
Yes, and that's still on my Christmas list for this year. And I did get a Wicked sweatsuit.
Oh, yeah, it's very green.
It's so green. Okay, well, we will see you next week when we talk about what Indy really thought of Wicked Part 1. Bye!
Bye, everyone.